Jean looked intently at the green-skinned woman before him. Small tears had brimmed in Ginger's eyes as she had said her thanks to Jean for saving her life. The horrific run-in with the creatures he now knew as ghouls was terrifying, but Jean hadn't saved her in hopes of getting a reward. Jean was about to tell her that no thanks was needed when pain lanced through his newly stitched-up arm. The pain made him think better of so carelessly waving away her offer. If I'm going to survive a day in this new world, I'm going to need a little more than buckshot and duct tape. Jean thought about the variety of things that he could ask her to help him with, but in the end, he couldn't picture himself asking her to make something for him. You mentioned you might be able to teach me some magic? Jean asked hesitantly, the words fighting to be able to come out of his mouth. Not for the first time, nor would it be the last, Jean found himself wondering how he'd gotten himself into such a mess. The answer was always the same every time he asked the question, though, and it was the same thing that made this all worth it. His mother's treatment. He would do anything to help her get better, and that idea stuck with him. Can you teach me healing magic? Jean all but blurted out before he could think better of the idea. No, Douglas piped up. The towering Native American man was shaking his head. You don't want to go down that path, brother. Many men go crazy trying to learn magic in an attempt to heal the ones they are losing to disease. You are more likely to accelerate a disease than you are to cure it with magic. Jean had been picturing himself using glowing hands to be able to remove that god-awful cancer from his mother, when his mind grasped onto what Douglas was saying, and the image transformed into a scene of Jean causing his mother's cancer instead to speed up, her body breaking down rapidly. Jean shuddered at the thought, the movement causing pain to go through his arm again. Even if I can't help out my ma with it, I still wouldn't mind learning what you could teach me. Maybe I could even speed up the healing process of this here wound. Don't know how much use I'm gonna be till I get it healed up anyhow. Douglas nodded at this. Doesn't sound like a bad idea. The more people and the hunters that can patch a wound, the better. Can't have Tim around all the time to fix you up. The chubby plaid-shirted Tim smiled at Douglas, then at Jean. Ah, shucks, you know I'd always be there to try and help. Especially now that Gator Boy's gonna be my new best friend. And anyhow, I bet the rest of the hunters dealt with our little disturbance. I can show you and Ginger where you can practice your magic if you like. With a nod to Douglas, Tim led them to the elevator. Then, after scanning his keycard, he pressed several of the floor buttons in a row, almost like he was punching in a code. The elevator lurched, making a strange whirring sound, and then started descending. The elevator went down, down, down. When they were still descending after 3 minutes, Jean looked nervously over at Tim, who was cheerfully whistling an offbeat tune. We're not stuck, are we, Tim? Tim laughed. No, of course not. The room that we're going to is just really deep under the complex. Helps make sure if any magical mishaps take place, it's not seen or heard by those who do not need to know any such thing exists. Jean's face screwed up. Magical mishaps? You don't think I'm gonna, blow myself up or anything, do ya? The chuckle died in Jean's throat as Tim shrugged. Not sure, honestly. I don't know much about magic. I just build things and stitch people up. Jean looked toward Ginger. A look of worry still clearly etched across his features. I'm not gonna blow myself up, am I? Ginger chuckled. We'll start you with something easy. That way there's less of a chance of you causing a magical backlash. But honestly, it would be more likely that nothing would happen than you would end up hurting yourself. Most humans have a tough time manipulating their mana anyway. The elevator doors dinged and slid open, revealing what looked to be an underground greenhouse. Beautiful flowers bloomed in the sunless depths, and as Jean stepped out to examine the cavernous space, he was forced to consider exactly how much of the world had been hidden away from him. He saw the myriad of plants and trees he couldn't even begin to identify. "This place is beautiful," an enraptured-looking ginger said as she strode forward, coming to stand before a pale-looking tree, whose bark was the color of human skin. Veins crisscrossed the tree, and it pulsed as if it held a heart deep within its bark. "Here, come, Mr. Landry, we can start your training." Jean winced at the use of his last name. "Please, just call me Jean. No need to be all formal-like." Ginger blushed a little. "Okay, Mr. Jean. Sit, cross-legged in front of me, and practice breathing as I do." The two practiced small breathing techniques for hours, as the techniques were supposed to allow Jean to feel the whispered connection he should have to the trees and earth around him. Instead, every time he tried, he felt as though several someones were screaming in his head, so much so that the first time he tried, blood gouted from his nose, some of it flecking on the clothes that Douglas had outfitted Ginger with before they had left. "I just don't understand why you're having so much trouble with this. Most humans can grasp this quite easily. Instead of hearing the whispers of the canopy of trees around you, it's just like you're having a sensory overload. It's a good thing they have a chakra tree. Please, take your shirt off and rest your back against the tree. It will give us an idea of what the man in your body looks like." No sooner had Jean placed his bare back against the tree than the area was cascaded into brilliant shades of blue. Ginger sucked in a deep breath as she examined the what looked to be limitless mana of her new friend. "What are you?" she said in wonder. "What do you mean?" Jean said, standing up to look at the tree that acted as a small representation of the fire that bloomed within Jean's being. He was aghast with what he saw. The image of blue flame licking up and down the skin of the chakra tree looked as though it should be burning the strange shrubbery to a crisp. Instead, it wreathed the leaves in an incandescent glow, and even as they watched, several of the leaves grew in length. Then, for a moment, as Jean reached toward the tree, he could feel something inside him lurching, the feeling of that fire within him. Then he looked down at the painless wound on his arm, the one with so many stitches. Slowly, the stitches were bulging, and then they popped out, blood oozing from the wound. Then, the blue flames that were on the tree were licking at his wound, and the skin sealed up, leaving naught but a scar. As quickly as the flames had come, they left, and with it all of Jean's energy. Stumbling, he reached out a hand to stabilize himself against something, but caught only air as he tumbled to the ground, finding unconsciousness there to greet him. When Jean awoke, he lay in a room he did not recognize. At the end of a bed sat a bored-looking Tim. "Hey, buddy! Lost you there for a moment. How you feeling?" Jean covered his eyes from the light of the room, while holding up one finger toward Tim. "Not so loud. I haven't felt a hangover this bad since I was at a high school party. Mama still never forgave me for that." A worried look in Ginger stood in the corner of the room. "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize you had so much magic within you. I would never have suggested you use the reading tree, or that I even teach you if I knew you had so much to try and control." Jean's face fell as she said this. "You mean you're not gonna teach me?" Ginger rubbed her neck bashfully. "It's not that I don't want to teach you, it's just that I wouldn't know where to start. Luckily, while you were unconscious, Douglas contacted one of the other hunters who apparently had some similar difficulties when learning to use his magic." It was then Jean realized there was another figure in the far back of the room. As soon as he did, he had a hard time figuring out how he had missed the figure in the first place. A hulking, hairy beast of a creature who held a fist-sized cigar between its shaggy lips. Jean's eyes nearly popped out of his head when he saw the creature. Are you a Sasquatch?" The large thing grabbed the end of the cigar and took another huge drag as if considering his question, then said, Jean looked from Ginger to the creature smoking the stogie in the corner of the room. "Let me guess," Jean said. "You're the hunter that Douglas sent to help me learn about my magic?" This question was met with another large drag, and then a nod in the affirmative. Jean collapsed back onto his bed, whispering to himself, "This can't be happening. This is all a dream. I just gotta wake up. Maybe you got yourself killed by a gator, and this is your punishment in the afterlife for hunting them suckers down. Mama told you no good came from hunting in the bayou. Why didn't you listen, boy? Why didn't you listen?" Tim walked over to him. "You okay, Jean? You didn't hit your head when you passed out, did you?" "No, Tim," Jean grunted out, realizing this was indeed not a dream. "I didn't hit my damn head. As much as it feels like I did, I just am trying to come to terms with all these new developments." The smoking Sasquatch got to his feet and walked over to the side of the bed, showing off his height of around 6.5 feet. Jean looked up at him. "Is everyone in the hunters shopping in the big and tall store, or is it just you and our fearsome leader?" The bushy man made a chuckle that came from deep within its belly. "No, it's just the two of us. The rest are pipsqueaks like you and Tim. Now get up. We don't have time for you to be lying around. I see your arm is healed, so no reason for you to be lounging about. By the way, my name's Webster. Nice to meet you." With this, the big man lifted a portion of the bed, unsurreptitiously dumping Jean out of his bed onto the floor. Jean groaned a little as his head pounded harder from the swift departure from the bed. "Now get up, boy. Some missions were offered our way, and since you're the new blood and all, Douglas said I should take you. And furthermore, he's offering you a pick of these tasks at hand. You should feel honored, boy. He seems to be taking a liking to you. I thought I was supposed to be taking it easy and training with Ginger while my arm healed." As he said this, he looked down his forearm to see nothing. Unblemished skin where moments earlier, or at least before he had passed out, there had been a large wound. Now, not even a scratch remained. "That was the case, until you decided to get all fancy and heal your wound so fast. And now, Ginger doesn't think she can train you. So, it falls into my hands. And I like to train on the go. So get up. We got some choices to make. Here are the missions that we can do. And here, my dear players, is your choice." There apparently is a group of monster hunters that call themselves the Templar. They somehow have gained knowledge of the unseen, and they wish a meeting with the hunters. Maybe Jean can learn some more from them, or at least experience a little more of this crazy new world. Or, there's been a rising number of ghoul attacks in the city. One of the creatures that was chasing Jean and hurt Ginger has been captured. And the hope is to get some information out of the creature about why the attacks are increasing. A merchant in the underbelly of the Hidden District says he has important information for the hunters in exchange for a favor. Maybe this could be a way Jean could get more supplies to keep himself safe, as well as maybe he could learn a little bit more about what goes for currency in this crazy new place he finds himself in. Some very interesting choices this time, my dear players. What will you choose? Don't forget to participate in the voting in the comments sections, and if you have another idea, suggest it. If your idea gets the most votes by the time we write the next section, we'll go with your idea. This is your story after all. We're just here to help write it. So, until next time, my dear, sweet friends. Thank you for coming along with this ride. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Let's write a story. Let's play a game without the dice.